Thank you everyone for dialing in again. So this is it, fight night number 2. This one is all about pasta. Who can do the best pasta, the best shaping, the whatever it is. It could have been any pasta dish. It could have been a wet dish. It could have been a dry dish. I'll let the guys talk through what dishes they've actually gone for, because Laney definitely needs to explain his in a bit more detail. But it's going to be Phil Leicester, who is on your screen wearing my face on his chest, which is very
nice.
And Scott Lane, who looks like the Hobbit cooking at the minute because his camera's so far away. He looks a little bit smaller than he actually is, but he is actually that small in real life.
No, I'm actually
a man. He's a small, tiny man.
He's a little man.
Oh, trash talking already.
Unbelievable.
So the guys are going to cook it out. They've got an hour to get the dish done. Scotty Furback will be the MC for the evening. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, everybody. Apologise, I'm going to be looking at notes on my phone. I'm not actually just texting people. So, as Pete's already led us in with, we've got Phil Leicester and Scott Lane, 2 of the most Essex boys you'll ever meet. As Pete has also pointed out, we have 2 very different pasta dishes tonight. Phil, a bit more traditional. Mr. Lane going out there a bit more different, but we like different. We like experiment.
So tonight I'm going to be doing a slow-cooked lamb shank with artichokes, pappardelle pasta, and parsley and mint Gramolata.
Sounds absolutely banging. Absolutely banging. Lovely. And now, Mr. Lane, what dish are you cooking for us today?
Well, funny enough, I'm not doing that. So I'm going to do. So I'm doing a kedgeree raviolo with a puffed wild rice, seaweed salt, and coriander oil.
That sounds very nice. Very different. I like the idea of it, but yeah, let's see what happens then. So, Phil, your pasta.
So I'm doing a fresh egg pasta. So you best use double row pasta flour for this. Obviously, because it's a lot finer than normal flour. If you can't get hold of that, you can use strong flour, which is very similar. So normally, it's a big, almost like making cement. So I add all the flour and pour the eggs in. But I did that the other day, and the eggs went absolutely everywhere. as I'm in a bit of a rush. So what I've done, I put 300 grams of flour and a bit of table salt in the bowl, and it's got 2 whole eggs and 4 egg yolks. Use the best quality eggs you can afford. I use the Currants Court one, so they've got a lovely colour to them. So what you do is add the whipped eggs to the flour, and just keep mixing until it comes to a crumb like that. Then you get your hands in.
And Phil, just while you're mixing that up, am I right in saying that the egg yolks help colour the pasta so you get that vibrant yellow?
So obviously, the better the quality of the egg, the yellow the yolk is. But you can do it with cheaper eggs. It's entirely up to you what your budget is. So you just keep working it till it comes together. So it's all coming together slowly. You can do it in a mixer, which Scott Lane's probably done.
He's on a tea break already.
He's a little bit older than me. Or you can do it in a food processor, and it'll work exactly the same. So it's coming together like that. Then what you do, you keep working it till you get a nice block of fresh pasta.
What are you looking for when you work it? Because it's quite a long time.
Smooth.
Yeah,
nice and smooth and pliable. And what you do, clean film and rest it in the fridge for as long as possible, really.
How long did that take you to knead, Phil?
I needed it for about 10 minutes. Well, I've got the boys to do, actually. For about 10 minutes.
Cool scene.
But when you rest it, some people just do it in a bowl and wrap it in clean film. But when you come to roll it, it makes your job a lot harder. So you're better off just make it flatter, then clean film in that. So I'm going to put that will go in the fridge, but obviously I made it earlier. So I'm going to let it sit out for a little while to get to room temperature, just so it's easier to roll.
Okay. And why are we putting the pasta in the fridge again?
Just to rest it, and it makes all the gluten work with the eggs.
Perfect. Excellent.
Now I'm going to start my lamb shanks. So what you need is a hot pan, good glug of oil. So I've got my lamb shanks from Smithfield Market, nice and fresh. They were £10 for 5. So out of this lamb shank, this will give us 2 portions.
I'm sorry, say that again. That was £10 for 5 lamb shanks.
£10 for 5 lamb shanks, which is really cheap.
£2 a pops, cheap as chips, isn't it?
Cheap as chips, brother. So the good thing about my dish is that you can do everything using shop bought products. You can buy the tinned artichokes like we do in some units. You can buy the lamb shanks already cooked in the vat pack bags. You can just flake that down exactly the same. You can even use the shop bought pasta. Whatever you feel comfortable doing.
Have you got the shop bought pasta, Phil?
I haven't, but Scott Lane has.
No, okay.
That's
So
just nasty.
Just out of interest, your lamb shanks, I mean, like I say, £2, it's cheap as chips, but not everyone likes lamb. Is there any alternatives you could use for
You
it?
can use beef shin, beef cheek. Whatever, you can do it with duck. You can even buy confit duck in a tin. You could use that.
All right, nice. And the idea is obviously, like you say, the meat so soft at the end, so tender, you're just going to flake it and mix it through the pasta, right?
Exactly. I wouldn't try it with lamb shoulder because it's a little bit fattier than lamb shank. It'll make the pasta go greasy.
Fair enough, fair enough. How about a veggie alternative?
Veggie alternative, I would use cherry tomatoes, courgettes, still the artichokes. Then I would find that you can get nice Bellazoo truffle paste, or if you don't like that, just olive oil and put the Gramolata dressing through it.
Sounds good. Excellent. Right, so you're getting on with the lamb at the moment.
Again?
You're getting on with the lamb at the moment. How about Laney? Laney, how are you doing at the moment? You ready to roll out some pasta, sunshine?
Yeah, I've started to roll some. So as you can see, set it up on number 1 to start you off. I've started this. This is down to number 3 now. And then I'll show you just rolling it through. So
can we just point out as well, like obviously, like we said, the kneading's very important to get that gluten working and to get a
100%.
silky smooth finish, yeah? Then
Yeah,
when you
Scott.
roll it out, so you're going to go through the machine. Again, I had a look the other day, a pasta machine, you can get the cheapest chips, £25 down Argos, working all the way up to a half decent one, I'd say, for 55. Seems like a lot of money, but if you're going to make the pasta, it really is worth it, I think. So what are you doing now?
So I'm just rolling this through and dropping it down each time. So really you want to be able to see your hand through the pasta, especially if you're making like a ravioli. I'm going to fill this one with like an egg, as you'll see in a minute.
So
just keep rolling it through.
The thickest setting first, and then you work your way down through the settings, yeah?
That's correct, mate, yeah. And what I tend to do is just cut it in half. If it's too much to manage, just cut the pasta in half and do it in 2 lots.
Now, sorry, Lane, I'm going to have to interrupt. Everyone's looking at you at the moment going, what the hell are you doing? Because obviously you're using a KitchenAid attachment.
Mate, I'm old, so I'm not like Phil, young and fit as Phil. So I've gone the electric mode, mate. This is called modern cookery, this one.
In all fairness, KitchenAids are fairly commonplace in the kitchen home nowadays anyway. So that's just an attachment that goes onto the mincing part of the front.
That's right, yeah. And it just stretches out. So as you can see my hand through there.
Darryl, can we swap over?
But...
There we go. So
you can see it's nice and thin, ready to be cut out into like a raviolo shape. So on my board, I've got some already cut out and I'm just piping in. So earlier on today, I made the smoked haddock mousse. So all it was the smoked haddock, blitzed down, fairly fine. I added a little bit of egg white, some salt and a touch of cream. And the reason it's a green colour, when I made the coriander oil earlier on, I used the rest of the coriander, like stalks and all the bits that was left over and folded that through. So just not to waste anything.
No wastage.
So no wastage, exactly. We
Just
like
very
that.
quickly as well, obviously you go down to Morrison's and the fishmongers in there, and every now and then you get like this really like horrible yellow looking haddock. Is that the stuff you want to be using?
Not really. I mean, that's the dyed stuff. If you can, best to go for undyed, but you know, sometimes it's just what's available to you. So yeah, it doesn't really make any difference to the flavour, but obviously undyed is just a lot nicer.
And you're using smoked haddock, like you said. So is it a case of, can you use anything else? Smoked salmon or?
Yeah, of course. Like if you wanted to do a vegetarian version of this, for instance, you could use like ricotta and spinach in here. Exactly the same principle. Make it into like a piping consistency. Leave a little hole in the middle. I don't know if you can see that there. And that's where the egg yolk's going to go, in the middle there. I'll show you that right now.
What I've done I've sealed my lamb off, get a nice colour. Change your camera, Scott.
Yep. Pete. So, keep talking, Phil.
So I sealed it off, got a nice colour. Now I've put onions, garlic, carrots, bay leaf, rosemary, and thyme inside the pan. So I'm just going to sweat that down, salt the onions. It brings out all the moisture. It doesn't make the onions burn. When you do it, make sure you count in and count out the bay leaf when you take it out. You don't want people eating bay leaves. It's obviously not very nice. So I'll put 3 in here. So I've got nice, once that's sweated down, add some red wine. Put the lamb shank back in. Reduce down the red wine. My missus is going to love me when she has to come back and do the tidying up. Then some beef stock. So once the red wine's reduced down by half, add your beef stock. Put the lid on.
So,
At 180 for about 3 hours.
why using beef stock and not, say, like a lamb stock or a chicken stock?
It's a bit
for example?
richer. It's a
Okay.
bit richer than lamb. You can use chicken stock. Or you can even use veg stock, whatever your preference is. So this beef has been in the oven for 3 hours. So what I'm going to do, before I roll my pasta, you'll see that the lamb, you know when it's done. You see that?
Beautiful.
Bone, it just falls off the bone. It's just nice and tender.
And I'll be right in saying that you need to make sure you've got your timings right, as in you give yourself enough time, because obviously you don't want to take out a tough piece of meat, do you?
No, exactly. The longer you cook it, the nicer it's going to taste and the easier it's going to be to fall off the bone. So,
Beautiful, mate.
Okay, Scotty's. Sorry, Phil. So I've just topped that ravioli. I've just put the top on there. The egg yolk is inside. I'm just going to seal it down. It's important to get as much air out as you can. Otherwise, it will just burst when you're cooking it. Okay, so I'm just pressing that down. Just give it a little seal. And it's just been sealed with egg yolk.
And did you say you put a whole egg yolk in the middle?
A whole egg yolk in the middle, mate. So hopefully when you cut into it, it should be nice and runny.
Scott, you're not supposed to say hopefully. You're supposed to say make sure the pasta's quite flat. Otherwise, it's hard work. So what you do, the hardest setting, just work the pasta through.
Product, mate. If you can get them, yeah, nothing wrong with using that at all. But for today's purposes, I just thought I'd show you how to make a little fresh one. So just cooking that down, sweating those off. Just looking for the onions to just slightly soften. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just pass this sauce at the end because I want it a little bit thinner than the normal katsu. But if you blitz the onions through this, it'll make it a lot thicker. Just add a little drop of flour. And again, just cook that out. So you can see that nice colour.
And what was the thinking, Laney, about putting a sauce with a pasta dish? Like,
well,
were you
I think I probably
time when you
yeah,
got
I
the
think I'd had a few beers that night, and I'd always wanted to do. Originally, the idea was to do a cannelloni. I was trying to work out how I could do a fresh cannelloni, fill it with a fish mousse, and I was going to use quail eggs. But the problem that I found was obviously the cooking time. If you've got it filled with that much fish mousse, the quail eggs would cook a lot sooner. So I decided maybe I could do it with a raviolo, and tried it out, and actually it worked quite well. I've just added a little bit of garlic and ginger to this as well. Just cooking it out. Smells really nice. I know you can't smell it. You haven't got smell cam, but it smells good.
Lovely. All right, Laney, we'll leave you there for 1 second. Phil, how many times have you put that pasta through now?
Every setting, I put it through once. So it gets nice and even. Don't put too much flour on it while you're rolling it, otherwise it dries it out. But when you're rolling it, you want to roll it as much as possible because it gets the gluten working and it gives you a much shinier pasta.
Okay, so like you say, again, like Laney said, you want that fineness, you want a transparency almost to it.
You're supposed to be able to read through it. So I'll put that through in the final setting now. Now you can leave it as long as you want. There's a couple of ways you can do it. You can cut it like that, get your pappardelle. You cut it, get your tagliatelle, whatever you fancy.
And again,
on the side.
And again, like you said, that's super thin. It's almost as thin as Pete's patience with Daryl's jokes, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
When you re-roll it, use polenta or semolina on it. I try not to use flour. If it's got a bit of a grain to it, semolina or polenta.
Texture, yeah?
Just layer it up. Up into the middle. Nicely. Neaten it up. Come on, pappardelle. That.
That's it, ready to go.
Right,
Lovely.
right, Scotty. I've just gone back to the katsu curry sauce. So I've added the stock in there. Then I've added some coconut milk, some sugar just to balance it out. And then just finishing it off with a bit of soy. You can see the more soy you add, the darker it becomes. So it's really up to you, sort of what sort of colour you're looking for. But I think that's about right there. Just give it a quick taste.
And obviously, as you say, with the soy, it adds colour, but also seasoning to it.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And you've got to be careful with this dish as well, because obviously we're using fish, smoked fish. So you want to go easy on the seasoning, because I've got the seaweed salt to go on there to actually season the dish at the end.
You're going to get the artichoke bit here. Get a teaspoon. The hairy bit.
The hairy choke. You don't want that for obvious reasons.
Say again?
You don't want the hairy part of the choke for obvious reasons.
Never want the hairy part.
No, make you choke.
So I'm just pinning them down so you get the choke out.
Okay.
The tin ones still do the same method. Take the choke out. Even though they're cooked and soft, they don't taste very nice. Scott, Lane?
Yo!
Want to boil?
Say again?
Got your water on to boil?
I've got it on, son. It's right there. Thank you, Phil.
That would have been brilliant if both of you didn't have boiling water. I'd have loved that.
So, Scotty, just a quick one. I made some seaweed salt. Just going to season the dish with. So again, it's just two sheets of nori and 20 grams of salt, just blitzed together. So it just gives you a lovely little seasoning.
Okay,
yeah.
Lovely. And nori, this is quite simple to find at the moment. I know there's specialist shops out there, but I think places like Sainsbury's, Asda, Tesco do it.
Yeah, 100%, mate. You get it everywhere now. And this is the ginger peelings that were left. So when I made the puff rice, I just fried these off and added a little bit of sugar to it. So
this is the Gramolata. This is just mint, parsley, olive oil, garlic, and lemon juice and lemon zest. Obviously, salt and pepper. I know Scotty Lane doesn't use much salt and pepper, but always taste. Yeah, so it's nice dressing to go on top of the pasta, just to freshen it up and cut through the richness of the lamb.
Okay, can you use other herbs for the Gramolata?
You can use tarragon. It's normally supposed to be parsley, mint, parsley, lemon, garlic, but I put mint in it just to freshen up to go with the lamb.
Okay, and like you said, because obviously it's quite lamb's quite rich and fatty anyway. It's that whole acidity cutting through it thing.
Exactly. I think I've not tried it, but I can imagine it'd be quite nice with tarragon and grapefruit with a piece of fish.
Oh, tasty, nice. And what?
So now I'm gonna I've got my frying pan on. Put a good glug of oil. Make sure it's hot. And I've got the artichokes. I'm gonna slice them really thinly. It's a bit like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Stalks and all. We're working about one artichoke to a person. So the oil's nice and hot.
Lovely.
Put in the artichoke.
Gentlemen, you're at 15 minutes. You have 15 minutes.
no problems.
Always season the artichokes or the onions. Just brings out the moisture, it will stop them burning. How you doing, lady?
Yeah, mate, just waiting to drop the old pasta, but it's a bit early yet. Mine doesn't take that long, yeah.
Plus, he cooked it
Oh,
9 o'clock
yeah,
this morning to get ready.
He brought it in cooked. It's just going to ping it through the ping.
No, there's no microwaves here.
He cooked 15 and he figured out the 2 didn't burst, so he saved those ones for this.
Also
Shit.
get some chopped garlic in there as well.
So what I'm going to do, Scotty, so just getting ready, just before we play up and stuff, I'm going to take some of the coriander oil, just put that in the bowl. When the ravioli's cooked, I'm just going to run that through it, just so it lightly coats it. And the rest of the seasonings will then stick. So the puffed rice, the ginger, and the seaweed salt will stick better to the finished ravioli.
Now, I know you're not going to drop the pasta down just yet, but let's like to spill a few myths. Like, first things first, like, don't put oil in your pan. You don't need it, do you?
No, mate, just I just put salt. Just put
Heavily
salt
salted
to the
water.
season.
Heavily
just the
salted
season.
water is the way to do it, because obviously the seasoning's going to transfer into the pasta, isn't it?
And
Exactly.
a nice big pan as well, so the pasta doesn't all clump together.
Yeah. Obviously, you need to give it a stir. Drop it in, gently stir it, especially if you're doing fresh pasta. That will be a little bit weaker than the dried stuff. And then just keep an eye on it, yeah?
Yeah.
How do you stop the ravioli splitting then, Scott? So that
You
the
pray, Wendy. You have to. You pray, normally.
That's helpful,
No.
Scott.
No, I'm only joking. When I seal it, I use just an egg yolk to seal around the edges. Then push out as much of the air out as you can, and then I've just indented this one with the back of my spoon, just to
You've
hold
crimped
it down
it.
even
You've
more.
crimped it.
Yeah, I've done like a little cheats crimp. Yeah, so
Yeah, supposed to do it.
and then pray.
I don't want to add any pressure to you both, but it's pretty tight in the poll. Like, not much in it at all. So I'd suggest that you both up your game a little bit to try and get a bit more further ahead.
Unbelievable.
No pressure.
Unbelievable.
No pressure. Depends if you want to win or lose, really. That's how you.
Start phoning around.
Yeah, Daryl.
Yeah, just like Daryl does.
It's not about the winning, it's about the taking part of the pan. I've just added a good splash of water, or you can use white wine, a little knob of butter. So that's my sauce that I had from the lamb, and the stuff that I passed off. That's obviously for the bin. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put some of this cooking liquor into the artichoke and reduce it down. Again, taste.
So you've got butter in there. Obviously, that's lovely. But what's the butter for?
Just to make it nice and glossy.
Perfect.
Then I'm going to put my lamb, my flake that. Don't flake it down too much. You want it quite clumped together. So I'm just going to put that into the pan with the artichokes.
And like Phil's just said there, Scotty, I'm just going to do the same with this curry sauce. I'm just going to add a little bit of butter, melt through, just to make it glossy, nice and shiny.
Such a copper.
Perfect. So looking good. Your pasta, Mr. Laney. What's the difference between your pasta and a ravioli?
And a ravioli is really just like a one portion. And a ravioli is more, 5 or 6 ravioli in a pan. So really, it's just like one larger, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we all go fine dining restaurants and we're all going to talk about how lovely the food was, but the portions are never enough. How many would you serve for one portion?
For me, I'm only going to serve one today because it is quite rich. It's quite filling. But, you could have 2 in there, as many as you want, really, mate.
Well,
Depends on
like
how
he's
hungry
only
you
got one decent one.
It depends on how many's in the tin. Terrible. You two are terrible.
He's not being very nice today, is he? I still love him, though.
It's the nerves, you lot.
He's nerves.
That's Diet Coke, yeah?
Always.
Yeah, nothing else.
With a little splash,
Always marinade the chef, never serenade.
So I just done a little mini focaccia to go with this. I know just
a mini
kick in the old
focaccia?
sauce. A little mini focaccia. You can
Lovely,
see there.
so
Just baked it off in the little pizza oven. Just glazing that with a bit of pizza oil. and just dusting it with a bit of the seaweed salt, just to emphasise that seaweed flavour. Yeah. So we're gonna
Anything
serve
gone
that
through the
alongside.
focaccia?
Yeah, I put some caramelised red onion and some olives.
Brilliant. And do Paul Rhodes deliver Monday to Friday or just once or twice a week?
He delivers all week, I believe. How dare you?
We can see them. What's that, Phil?
Waitrose definitely deliver.
Isn't fettuccine the easiest bread to make as well? I ought to give it a go.
Wendy, what are you trying to say? But no, it is very easy. Yeah, the secret is give it
Like
a
I
good
said,
heat.
was to stop picking on you.
Yes, Malika's sticking up for you. Bless.
Well done,
Character
Malika.
building, Wendy.
Well done, Malika.
There we go.
Oh
Bang.
my God, that looks nice.
Right, so there you go, in the pan. Give it a little toss.
It's nice and saucy. Saucy.
Saucy.
You need to add a little bit more sauce or stock. Be scared.
Lovely.
And it always needs a little bit more butter.
And again, that's just giving it that gloss.
Yeah, definitely.
So I've pulled the ravioli out now, Scotty. Just giving it a
Okay.
little douse. Just giving it a little douse in the oil. You can see that there.
Beautiful. Oh, you just went something. Yeah, perfect.
And then I'm going to start to put it together, I think. How
Yeah.
you doing, Phil? Going to start to go?
Waiting for you, mate. I'm waiting for you.
5 minutes. So that's the katsu sauce, Laney, yeah?
Katsu sauce, mate. Just going in the bottom of the dish.
Again, check the seasoning.
You can tell Daryl's only come over to help today, so he gets a free dinner.
Is he even there? I haven't heard him yet.
I
I'm
know.
very worrying about Daryl. Do you think he's all right?
It's been very good.
This is the quietest I've ever heard him. I'm actually genuinely worried.
I thought that just Pete had muted him, put a little personal mute on him.
He's in the
try that
background.
all the time, but it doesn't work in every aspect of my life. But today, it's
So, Scotty, on there, I've just put a
Yeah.
little bit of puff rice, a little bit of the fried ginger. Just going to finish it off with a little bit of the seaweed salt. And then a little bit more of the oil. And then some just picked coriander.
Lovely. Daryl, can we get a zoom in for those dishes when they're finished? If you don't mind, please, buddy. If we can, yeah, we're on your camera at the moment. You're looking at the bowls, yeah, that's it. And then just a bit of garnish.
Just going to finish it with a little bit of coriander.
Now, I must say, it doesn't do it justice. Unfortunately, the lighting's not very good. It looks lovely, it looks spanking. Now, Phil, how are you doing?
I'll plate it up. You can put spinach or curly cow or broccoli like that in there. But what's the point when you can have more lamb? So
Absolutely.
yeah, the Gramolata.
all right, Laney. Are we going to get one of those live like egg yolk cut shots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Do you want an
Oh,
action
Scotty.
shot, yeah?
Well, I want to
Action
make
shot,
sure
yeah?
that you've actually cooked the egg yolk properly, really, to be honest with you. But if we get
Chef, there's no need to be like that, but I'll cut them
Come on,
open.
Scott, I've got
One
time.
second. Drum roll, please.
wait,
Drum roll.
There it is! There it is!
wait, do the other one. You missed it. Do the
It's
other
too
one.
late.
Do the other
There
one.
it is. Do the other one. Oh,
Doing, yeah? Or is that empty?
you ready?
Go on.
Yeah.
There you go, mate.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
Lovely. Lovely.
What did you do?
He cooked an egg properly. Can you believe it, man?
Scott Lane's been applauded by Pete's sons for cooking an egg. Excellent.
that boy's got taste. Well done. But don't forget to vote.
Put that.
Parmesan.
So the Gramolata and the Parmesan all up. Beautiful.
Jobs are good. Nice.
Listen, I think you can quite all agree that that's two beautiful dishes.
It's a tough vote.
The boys have obviously did prep different stages, but I think they've done extraordinarily well in 45 minutes. I mean, the apron is disturbing. Brilliant, but disturbing.
Standard issue. That's what they should be.
Well done, both of you. I think they're two really good dishes. Yeah.
I know you've both been really nervous. It's not easy, so fair play to you.